Well, since there was a light week, we were going to try to make it a quick show, but you know me, man. Once we get started talking about this stuff, you can't turn me off. But so I apologize, but historically speaking, I think it's important for us to realize in our last segment, if you can catch it, talking about Trevor Space because he's a special player. All right, let's stay in McAllen and start talking about the week that was and the week that is. That's the way I like to do it, and that's the way he likes to do it because we're pals for a long time. McAllen Rowe was one of those teams that had the early buzz. They made a big win against that Couch. Then they did that two-game slide we were talking about earlier.
The Mercedes thing was the shocking one. And then for them to fall to PSG Memorial. And they didn't put up points.
No, 1914.
Yeah, and that kind of game, I would have thought both teams would be putting up a lot of points.
Memorial seems to hold you. Memorial seems to hold you to not a lot of points. They keep the ball. Jonathan Trevino, underrated running back, 156. So now Rowe turns around at 1-2 and plays United. Now United's been one of the best teams in Laredo for 10 years. Them and Alexander. They're 1-2 also, but they lost to some good teams. Sherryland among them, and last week it was Clark by 13 points. Antonio Clark's resurgent.
If you haven't seen United play, they like to throw the ball. They're going to do just like McAllen Memorial, Rowe. They're going to do just like Rowe, and they're going to spread it out. They're going to throw the ball. If Rowe can score like they did at the first
year, 48.
Yeah, if they can do that, it's going to be a good game for them.
You can't beat United scoring 14.
Yeah,
there ain't no way.
There's no way.
Yeah.
And so they've got to get back to the the Rowe of old.
Yeah, the Rowe of old. I think they will because the frenetic pace of that offense. They just, they've had some hiccups here, but this is non-district. It's the last tune-up, and you want to play a team that has the style that you do because, man, there you go into the vortex. That should be a 75-point game.
And the thing is, even in this game, if they score a ton of points and they lose, at least they're back on that track. Yeah. That's what they need to find is their mojo.
They need to become themselves again,
yeah.
And I believe that they will. Okay, so PSG Memorial gets that win. That's following a loss to the Bears. Now they play at home against Vela. Talk about scoring. 52.3 points per game. Vela scored 6 points a game as a first-year team. Last year they scored 29, went 5-5. And this year they're averaging 52 through 3 games. Now you make the point, he don't want to be unpopular at the new high school.
I'm okay. I'm going to be the buzzkill here. If you look at the teams that they played, the records for those teams aren't that great. I mean, Harlingen South was that team that we thought was going to be really great. I still think, but look, they just don't have enough players. I love what coach is doing over there, but
they're 1-2 and they got pounded last week. So, in other words, strength of schedule, if you add it up so far, is not on the SaberCat side. But look, granted, or resolved, as William F. Buckley used to say, resolved, this, but. I like that offense, dude. They can score against anybody. I mean, they are really now that they've gotten a better running game going. They'll score a ton of points. They have ever had 5 touchdowns, 13 out of 20, 5 touchdown passes. Stephen DeLuna, he's about 6'2" or 3, 220, decent feet, can catch the ball from tight end or he deflects in. They're using him a lot. He caught 5 balls, and they're getting everybody involved, man. They can beat you outside with Arguelles. They can beat you inside the slot with Elijah Reyna, or they can get this tight end involved. Velu will score, and we said that from the beginning.
See, I think right now it's, for me to become a believer with the SaberCats, I'm going to have to see them play against Sherryland.
And you will.
And I will, in 2 weeks. And Sherryland will be well rested, right? And
Well, they got Alexander.
Yeah, they have. Oh, that's true. They do have. But I think that's going to be the game that kind of sets
game of the year.
Yeah, especially for Fox Southwest too. So, but this is one of those games. I have to see them play against those guys because you're not going to see them. So far you haven't seen them play a team that has
athletically can match up with them, right? And PSG Memorial, I believe, has one. So let's see how the SaberCats can score. If they get 35 points against the Wolverines, then that's an offense they can score against almost anybody. Because right now that PSG Memorial defense is playing well.
Yeah, and you're going to get to see Arguelles. I want to see Arguelles. I want to see Arguelles because Arguelles, if you have like Landez, you mentioned Shadow.
Oh, that's a great thing. Because who's going to win that battle? Because Michael's bigger, but Sean can jump like there's no tomorrow. Yeah, and he's crafty enough to pull on you. And
and Landez has been doing it for 3 years now. So I mean, the kid knows he knows the intricacies of playing the DB spots.
And he knows the big game mojo and magic. We turned it on and won that Harlingen game last year. My goodness, I'll never forget that. As long as I live. Gave me the chills thinking about it. I'm thinking of that fumble at the 1 yard line, but I'm going to bring that up. Yeah. There are certain things that stick in your memory. Okay, let's go for Sherryland now. 28-7 against Rivetta. The great teams win when they don't have great days. 180 yards of offense, like we said, that's probably not enough. It's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
Now they play who? They play Alexander. Alexander 2-1. They just got through beating Nixon pretty handily. I think 41-0, 43-0. Their only loss is to an Alice team that's 3-0 and looking good. So Alexander's pretty solid. It's a good challenge.
I got to see Alexander this summer during 7-on-7. They're here for our 7-on-7 qualifier. They've got another Swain.
No. God, you're kidding. Yeah, so enough with that family. I'm sick of them.
Yeah. So they're the Gatlings of.
That's great. So, that's exactly it.
But yeah,
Gatling.
If you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But the Swains they're picture perfect quarterbacks.
Yeah.
The release,
technical, athletic,
and their father is a great coach as well. So they get the most out of that, what they do. And it's going to be an interesting game for Sherryland because Sherryland's going to have to bring their offense this week.
They will. I think they'll be fine. This is the killer schedule they're playing is going to get them ready for September 26th.
I am impressed what they did with Rivetta though, because they did what Economides couldn't do, which is stop Tom Chavez's little out routes that they were running.
North.
Huh? North. Excuse me.
That's
north.
all right.
So they did a good job shutting that down.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man. Rivetta's one of those teams that they're giving everybody a scuffle. They may not be winning games, but they're giving everybody a scuffle. All right, speaking of scuffle, Mission and EHS get with it. Bobcats have given up 124 points in 3 games and scored 13. It's been a very rough start for them. I think they have a chance to beat Mission. Mission is not playing its best football yet.
No, they aren't. I think what Edinburgh's going to have to do, and this is just me as an outside observer.
Outside, inside. Davis and Blanchard.
Although I work there. But is they might have to start playing more people both ways. So they're going to have to do like Hartland and South. They're more experienced players on both sides of the ball. Now the problem is, they inherited a team with not a lot of people returning.
Yeah, not a lot of numbers.
So I mean, it's hard to get those experienced players because they don't have a lot coming back.
Yeah.
So they got to figure a way to do that.
Well, they got Weslaco to start district, and then they got Edinburgh North. And so right now, I'm thinking that for the morale of the team, this is a crucial game. They have to play well. They have to play well. Now, Mission, on the other hand, again, they're one of those teams that they can confuse you, like Weslaco. When you think they're out, they're in. When you think they're in, they're out. I expect them to put up a pretty good fight Friday at Cat Stadium. I think it's important for both teams to establish some momentum and to be able to come back Monday and say, we got them. Because 0-4 for EHS and it'd be 1-3 for Mission loss. That's just not how you want to go into district, man. That's no momentum right there.
No, and you're going to see, Mission's going to come with their very, they're a fast defense.
Yeah.
And if,
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No,
I can name Florida's had a pretty good rushing game, so they're starting to find the way.
Yeah, and Edinburgh's going to have to be able to, match that tempo because they're going to, come flying at the ball. They're going to have to, maybe some screen passes,
get rid of the ball
screens.
Quick to bubble and tunnel screens. They got that turnover against McAllen early and they didn't cash it in. If they get a break against Mission, they've got to get points. They've got to do it. So.
Yeah, anyway. and it's a learning process for that team because they're picking up a brand new offense because they were running the same thing for the longest time over there.
This is true. Yeah, it was. It's a new era at Edinburgh High. They need to get a win under their belt, and this may be the week. We never know. All right, when we come back, we're going to go to 5A, which used to be 4A, and some of the teams stayed, but we're not going to go through that whole song and dance again. When the show comes back, we're going to talk about that great murderers district in 32 5A, because it is something else. See you in a bit.